As I'm turning 40 in a couple of days, I've been thinking about the things that I've learned in my 30s because I do feel like this is the decade that I've grown and learned the most about the world and especially about myself. So, thinking back 10 years ago, my 30th birthday was pretty significant for me. Even though I don't usually put a whole lot of stock in birthdays, it was a lot of fun. And if I think about it, it seems like it was only just a couple of years ago, but really a lot has happened in the last 10 years. And I've been thinking about how I wanted to start this channel, how I want to kick this channel off, and I figured this would be a good way to do it. So these are the 9 things that I'd tell my 30-year-old self now as I'm turning 40. This one's for all the people pleasers out there, which is definitely me, but it's true. No one cares. That silly thing or dumb thing that you did that you cringe about every time you think about it, nobody's thinking about it now. I mean, think of it this way. How much time do you spend thinking about the silly or dumb things other people have done in your life? Probably not a lot. So you got to figure they're not thinking about you either. Actually, I'm dealing with this right now in this moment because I'm walking out here. I'm on this street just walking around, and I've had people come by on bikes, cars drive by, people out in their front yards here. And every time I see somebody, I'm like hiding my camera, putting it away because I'm embarrassed to be out here doing this, but they don't care. They're going to look at me. Maybe somebody's going to ask what I'm doing, but what's the big deal? I used to think that I had it all figured out. I think we all, when we're younger, think we all have it figured out. And when I turn 50, if I see this video, I'll probably roll my eyes at the things that I'm saying here. But I think it's a good realization to have that we're always evolving. You'll never have everything fully figured out. But what's important in your 30s is that, at least in my experience, the things that are important to you, the things that you want to put your time and energy and focus and attention on, will become more clear to you. Personally, I've come to realize that I don't have any grand life goals anymore. No big, like, I want to change the world, idealistic sorts of things that I used to have when I was younger. What I want now, what's important to me right now, is stability and health and a happy family and a sense of fulfillment. So I'm not chasing huge things that are going to burn me out anymore. I've come to realize the things that are important to me and I'm putting my efforts there. It's really true. Not everyone's going to like you. And actually that's okay. And really I'd say it's probably better that not everyone likes you, because for all the time that we spend trying to make sure that people like us, that we are agreeable, what we're actually making ourselves is forgettable. We won't stand out. We put other people's needs over our own, and we got to remember that people don't care, right? And actually, I think people will start to respect you for being true to yourself. This one might be slightly contradictory to the no one cares lesson, but I think this is about balance. I've seen far too many people make themselves miserable thinking that everything has to be a battle, that they have to be right, that they have to have the last word, that they have to have an opinion on everything. And sure, some battles are worth fighting, but this is about finding balance because not all of them are. And while it's true that no one cares, if you are this sort of person that has to fight every single battle, it will get noticed and you'll probably lose out on some good relationships for it. One of the hardest things that I had to come to terms with in my 30s is the realization that my job isn't my life. And maybe it is for you. Maybe that's the priority you've set. But for most people, it's really not. For most of us, our jobs are just a way to feed ourselves, to put food on the table, to put a roof over our heads. And if your job is just a job, if it doesn't provide you with a sense of fulfillment and joy and inspiration, then give it the attention it deserves, but nothing else. Your life is everything else outside of your job. Go outside, be with your friends and family, find productive hobbies that fill your soul. This one is personal for me because I abandoned my passion for music for about 15 years, the second half of my 20s and pretty much most of my 30s. I kept telling myself that I was too busy. I would rather listen to podcasts or audiobooks to keep up on the world, and I just couldn't find new things to listen to, but it just made me miserable. And now, the last year or so, I've been diving back into music again, and it's already improved my outlook and made me much happier. So I think it's important in your 30s, when life starts getting busier and crazier and more hectic, to find time to keep up on your hobbies. Be involved in a community. Give yourself time to be creative. And don't always feel like you need to monetize those hobbies. I've had that kill my desire more times than I would like. Just find something that you enjoy doing for the sake of doing it and put time into doing it. This has become my personal metric for evaluating relationships. I've removed a lot of unpleasant people and have formed some strong bonds in the last 10 years because of this idea. I think every human being deserves a basic level of dignity, regardless of anything else, regardless of any characteristics or ideologies or worldviews. Everyone deserves a basic level of dignity for the fact of being a human. We are all, in our own ways, flawed. We owe each other just a little bit of grace and honor. Don't condemn people for who they are. Allow everyone to live the life that makes them happy. And if you can't do that, then I'm not interested in having you as a part of my life. Eventually, we all realize that adults don't have it all figured out. In an ideal world, I think people would be more reflective and introspective as they gain age and knowledge and experience. But as I've seen, that's not really the norm. Older people can be just as close minded and uninterested in learning and oblivious to the world around them, and they fall into the previous rule as well. They deserve basic dignity, but just being older doesn't command respect for their opinions unless they've earned it. I think if I could summarize all of the points here, it would be with this: just find balance, work hard, make the world a better place, have standards for yourself to live up to, but also relax, just enjoy life. Every once in a while, I remember that this could all be gone tomorrow. Over the last 10 years, I've known quite a few people who have passed away, people my age, young people. And I always wonder, were they satisfied with the balance that they struck in their lives? Were they happy with the time that they spent with their families, in their communities, or doing something that they loved doing? Or did they spend so much time at work that they didn't really enjoy life? It's all about balance. So that's it. I'm sure I could think of 10 more if I wanted to, but those are the 9 best things that I've learned in the last 10 years. Things that, if I could, I would go back and tell myself when I was 29, turning 30. And I'm sure I'll learn a lot more in the next decade. And maybe if this whole thing is still around 10 years from now, I'll revisit this video with an update.